inflation than fostering growth. Then the other question is the new measure to sell forex to BDCs. What do you want to achieve? Because there seems to be conflicting information. What do you actually want to achieve? The other question, which I think you should also answer, is what is the state of the Nigerian banking system right now? There's a lot of...
Let's take one after the other. Okay. First is inflation against growth.
Yes, inflation against growth. Mm-hmm. Number two is what you want to achieve with the measure to sell forex to BDCs. That's against what we have right now. Then the third question is what is the state of the Nigerian banking system? Thank you, Governor.
I'm David Malingade from Bloomberg News.
Hold on a minute, please. Yes, Bloomberg.
Thank you, Governor. Since you introduced the currency reform last month, have you noticed the coming back of foreign investors into Nigeria's fixed income market and equities? And then secondly, are there any plans...
Have you noticed the return of
foreign participation in Nigeria's fixed income and equities?
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, are there any plans to probably review the list of the essential 41 items? Because I think that's also an important FX question. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Governor. Oyeyemwachukwu here from Business Day. In addition to what Nancy asked, how are you sure that your decision to begin to sell dollars to BDCs won't fuel arbitrage, which has been a major concern?
How are you sure that sale of FX to BDCs?
Okay. Sorry, I'm allowed to I report.
Hold on a minute. Yes.
I'm Olatuke I report for Vision FM Radio.
FM Radio.
Yes, one of my questions has been asked. Also a follow-up to that on the BDCs. The BDCs complained yesterday that the banks refused to sell to them. Are you doing anything to check this? Thank you.
Yes, the Governor. I am Bosun Amofai. I work with Channels Television.
Yes.
In terms of the number of members that voted, 5 for a raise, 3 to hold, you almost would have run into a 4x4. But fortunately, there was one leg to the other side. So the key question is the 3 members that decided that the rates, the policy rate should be held at 12%. What was the basis for that decision based on the minutes? Why the 3 out of 8 decided that rates should be held unchanged at 12%? Thank you.
Thank you. This is a truckload. One more, please.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. My name is Matthias Okwe. Mine is, I'm seeking for clarification, and I work for the Guardian newspapers. We heard that the CBN has withdrawn from intervention by way of supplying forex. That was why the Naira actually suffered, and that it was based on conditions given by the other stakeholders who said if you don't supply, they would also, if you don't withdraw from intervention, they will not bring their dollars. Is it true? Thank you.
Okay, I think that rounds it up, and we'll listen to the Governor.
Well, thank you very much. You want to know the CBN's assessment of the new foreign exchange regime? I'd like to say so far, so good, and I want to give an excellent assessment to say that it's been excellent so far, given that we had a 16-month period of, put it very clearly, no activity in the foreign exchange market. And I would say that the results has been good, with a few activities that we're not too happy about, but we feel that in the course of time, because this is just practically like just 1 month since this started, that there is still a lot of room for improvement, and I expect that these positive trends will be sustained. Why did the MPC decide to tilt towards inflation rather than growth? Basically, I think the issues were that, if you notice during the May 24th meeting, MPC decided to say, look, if you look at the balance between inflation and growth, that we should stay with growth, and expecting that growth, because the MPC monetary authorities cannot directly influence growth, giving the fiscal authorities the impetus to push forward on growth. But like I read in the communique, MPC members felt that was still is coming in rather quite slowly. But at this meeting, you will also notice that we took a lot of time to deliberate on whether to favor growth as against inflation. We felt that there was a need, in line with central bank's core mandate, to look at price stability at the time. That if we favor price stability at this time, in which case signal an interest rate movement that will curtail inflation, that when we curtail inflation, a lot more stakeholders' interests would have been sort of met, thereby encouraging, in this case, inflow of capital into the country. And as you have more inflow of foreign exchange into the country, what that does is that it deepens the FX supply base, and by deepening the FX supply base, it makes it easy, makes foreign exchange available to end users, particularly to the manufacturing sectors, who require raw materials to boost manufacturing and industrial capacity. And we're also hoping that when this is achieved, what you find is that naturally prices will be affected downwards. When you have a situation where foreign exchange is also made available to those who want to import agricultural inputs, in insecticides or agricultural plants, it helps to boost the agricultural productivity, and this also helps to moderate the effect on prices downwards. So what this does is it generally creates activity that will boost not just manufacturing and agricultural output, but will indirectly now begin to push growth forward. That was purely the essence of saying, let's push from the direction of taking inflation and price stability as a focus during this meeting against growth. It didn't mean that we didn't have growth at the back of our mind, but we felt, let's start by looking at price stability, push towards curtailing inflation, and at the same time, ultimately, seeing how you can achieve growth in the same vein. What is the objective of selling FX to the BDCs? If you recall, in January, we said that the Central Bank of Nigeria could not continue to dip its hand into the scarce reserves to fund the operations of the BDCs, which is entirely cash. But we also said in that process that, look, that the BDCs are allowed to source their foreign exchange from autonomous sources. We went further to say that central bank itself will seek ways to open the channels where the BDCs can access foreign exchange from autonomous market to be able to continue to do their business and provide a source of livelihood to those who are in that business. Unfortunately, I use the word unfortunately, it took us between January and June to do this. Now what we feel is that we all know the size of diaspora funds that flow into this country. And we thought that what we should do is that foreign currency that flows into the country through the likes of international money transfer organizations, Western Union, MoneyGram, Riyadh, and the rest of them, that those foreign currency should flow through into the broader exchange market so as to help to moderate and dampen the effects of price. And that takes me to the aspect of where somebody says, will this introduction not lead to arbitrage? Rather, to the contrary. What will happen is that by this, it will moderate the prices in the parallel market.